standing right there.
Can you move, please?
Okay. Ronnie Dallas, actually.
It appears there's a whole group of people coming.
She gave me a hug earlier.
As before, it was just the FBI's PIO and the airport director, Craig Williams. There's a lot more people looking this time. State police. And it looks like Mayor Weaver, the officer who's her security detail, and city spokesman Kristen Moore just walked in and joined in the huddle before the news conference.
Mayor Weaver just... What else? What do you mean? Zoom out to where?
Hey, down the front,
There's
please.
nothing.
It's media.
Literally, it's just media right now.
And here's Chief Tim Johnson, Police Chief Tim Johnson, walking up.
If I zoom out, it's just going to be media. No. They're literally behind all of the media.
I would just watch the feed right now. I'm going to stream it live on my... Here, I gotta go and text Neil. Can you call in? You don't have any juice left. Sarah's phone is dead.
It looks like an airplane just taxied over to the terminal in the background over the group of people who are getting ready to address the media during a news conference. That is the first plane we've seen approach the terminal since we've been out here.
Again, folks, Tim Wiley with the Detroit FBI Public Affairs. Thank you again for your patience. We want to make sure we have the most accurate, up-to-date information for you, and we appreciate your accuracy in reporting. I'd like to introduce to you the Special Agent in charge of the Detroit Division, which covers the entire state of Michigan. Special Agent in charge, David Delio.
Good afternoon, and I'd like to thank you all for your patience throughout the day today. You'll excuse me to defer to a few notes here because I want to give you as accurate information as I can. We have had a very busy day, and I know we've kept you waiting, and we wanted to wait until we had a point that we could come out here and provide you a little more information than we might have been able to do had we done this an hour or two ago. So before I start, though, I just want to say that you all are aware of the incident we had out here today where Lieutenant Jeff Neville was stabbed And before we get to any details of the investigation and what happened here today, I would like to turn this over to Chief Chris Miller of the Bishop International Airport Public Safety Department to give you information on what's most important, and that's the current health condition of Lieutenant Neville. Chief?
Good evening, everyone. Lieutenant Neville is in satisfactory condition. As you all heard what happened to him. He's doing fine. He's residing at a local hospital right now. He's resting comfortably. And we'd just like to thank everybody that came out to support us here in this trying time. So that's all I have.
And we'll introduce others of the partners here today. As you can imagine, this has been a great joint local, state, and federal operation since early this morning, and we couldn't have done it without all the partners here, and we'll give them each an opportunity to introduce themselves. But I will just go into the facts of what we've been investigating today. I will tell you that we are investigating this incident today that happened at about 9:45 this morning as an act of terrorism. We have just filed a complaint charging an individual by the name of Amor Tui. He's a 50-year-old resident of Canada who legally entered the United States in Lake Champlain, New York on June 16th and made his way to Flint, and today arrived at the Flint International Airport. Obviously, I know a lot more about this, and we're sort of at 0 hour of this investigation right now, and since it is a pending investigation, I'm not going to go into great detail as to what we do know, but we do know Mr. Fatui entered the airport. He spent a little time on the first level, then he went upstairs, he spent some time in the restaurant up there, and then he came out. He was carrying baggage. He went into a restroom. He spent a little time in the restroom, dropped both bags, and came out, pulled out a knife, yelled Allah Akbar, and stabbed Lieutenant Neville in the neck. As was mentioned by the chief, he's in stable condition and is expected to fully recover, and that's the most blessed thing I think we can say about this today. It's a good outcome. We had some incredible acts of heroism up there today, and in questions we can perhaps talk a little bit about the efforts to take Mr. Fatui into custody. The complaint that's been filed is charging a violation of 18 U.S. Code 37A1, which basically is violence at an international airport. And just to give a little more background on that, that is when someone unlawfully uses a device to commit an act of violence at an international airport that could have or did cause serious injury, which we had in this instance. There's a 20-year penalty associated with that, but this, as I said, is very, very early in the investigation. And as we progress and take this matter to grand jury for indictment, other charges could be pending later on. As I mentioned, it's an ongoing investigation. There's joint operations going on in Canada as we speak. We want to thank our Canadian partners who are helping us further investigate this attack. And with that, I would like to defer to some of my partners here to make brief statements as well.
So can you spell his name?
The name is Amor, A-M-O-R, Fatui, F-T-O-U-H-I. And as I mentioned, he's approximately a 50-year-old Canadian.
When did he enter the country?
Pardon me, he entered the country on June 16th. And as I mentioned, it's a pending investigation. We know he came to the airport this morning. That's as far as we're going to go with, we're trying to develop further information as to his timeline and where he went after he entered the United States in Lake Champlain, New York.
Can you describe the weapon he used?
We'll take questions at the end, and I will describe the weapon.
Yep, just to let everybody know, again, we're going to do a question and answer segment towards the end, about 10 minutes worth. Right now, we'll go ahead and have introductions of all of our local, state, and federal partners that are here with us.
Special First Lieutenant David Kaiser with the Michigan State Police. First and foremost, Michigan State Police would like to extend Their thoughts and prayers to Lieutenant Neville and his family during this very difficult time. The Michigan State Police has supplied many different resources here today to work with our local, state, federal partners. Some of the resources provided included officers, detectives, bomb-sniffing canines, and our Michigan State Police Crime Lab. They were all involved in this investigation and worked well with the partners in this. I'd also like to mention that Governor Rick Snyder has been in frequent contact with the Michigan State Police headquarters today, inquiring about the status of the injured officer as well as the status of this investigation. And the Michigan State Police is very appreciative of this contact. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Timothy Johnson, City of Flint Police Chief. Just want to thank everybody for your concerns. We have a multiple jurisdiction police here trying to get to the bottom of this, and we have the Mayor of Flint is here also, and she's going to come up and make some comments. But just thank you for your concerns, and we appreciate everybody coming out to be concerned about what happened here at Bishop International Airport. Tragedy, but thank God that the officer is alive. He's doing well now. He's out of critical condition, so he's recovering right now. So thank you for your concern.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to say that, what happened here at Bishop Airport is just a tragedy. I think it's absolutely awful, and that a police officer was injured like this, because every day we know our law enforcement gets up and they come to work prepared to protect us, and don't know if they're going to come home to their families or not, or the condition that they're going to return to their families in. And so I really need to have an opportunity to commend Chief Miller and his staff, and thank my own Chief of Police, Tim Johnson, the Michigan Township, Flint Township, the State Police, the Sheriff, the federal agents that are here, because it showed that we all came together at a time like this. And this is what we need the community to see, is that when these kinds of things happen, we do come together. And I hope it gives the people of Flint and the people in the surrounding areas the confidence to know that this was not taken lightly, and people came together quickly to make sure that we were protected. So I do want us to continue to keep Officer Neville lifted in prayer, and his family. And again, this is just, it's a sad day, but it could have been worse. It could have been worse, and thanks to the quick response of all of the law enforcement that's out here today, things weren't any worse. And we also need to thank the other person. There was an unsung hero that saw what happened, and she came to his aid to help. And had that not been, had she not been in the place she was at that time, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. So we need to keep her in prayer, and the rest of the staff that's out here at the airport. Because when you go through things like this, it impacts you, and it impacts them, and it makes it more difficult for them to do their jobs. So this was a day where we showed unity, and everybody came out here and responded. And so I hope that just shows the community that we're working together to make things better. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Airport Director Craig Williams, and on behalf of the Bishop International Airport Authority, I want to thank you for coming out here. It's been a traumatic day for us, one of our own with staff, and that's really it's touching. It hurts on me personally. It hurts on our staff. First and foremost for us is making sure that our safety and security of our passengers and our employees are paramount to everybody. Even though we did have some disruptions this afternoon, we're working to get back to normal operations. I'll answer questions during Q&A time. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nick Starcevic. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the Detroit ATF Field Division. First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers go out to the officer as he recovers from his wounds. Today, ATF deployed assets from the Flint field office as well as an office from our Detroit division. We will continue to support this investigation throughout its entirety, and we will support the FBI in any way it needs. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juan Sanchez, the Federal Security Director for TSA out of Detroit, Flint, Lansing, and Saginaw airports. And I just want to say thanks to all our federal, state, and local partners for ensuring the safety of not only TSA employees, but the entire American public at Flint Airport. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Dan Owen, Bishop Airport Fire Department and EMS Department. We responded as soon as the call for help went out, and we rendered first aid to our officers, and we maintained a fire presence and safety of this airport throughout the whole incident. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dershawn King, and I'm the Assistant Federal Security Director, Office of Law Enforcement, TSA, and my main role here is to support our federal, state, and local law enforcement officers in this matter. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Peggy Franklin-Aller with Homeland Security Investigations. First of all, Homeland Security Investigations would like to wish a full, quick, and speedy recovery to Lieutenant Neville. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and him. And we just want to commend the great work that was done by all agencies out here today. Thank you.
All right, before I take a few questions, the question I heard earlier was about the knife. The knife was about a 12-inch knife with an 8-inch serrated blade. As you will see in the complaint, when the subject went up to the officer and stabbed him, he continued to exclaim Allah, and he made a statement something to the effect of, "You have killed people in Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and we are all going to die." Thus, our determining, obviously, this, we're going to investigate it as a terrorist act. I can tell you, based on the information we have presently, we don't believe that anyone was involved with this individual. We have no information to suggest a wider plot, but it's certainly very, very early in the investigation. We're seeking search warrants for electronic media, for his vehicle. Much of that work is going on right now, so time will tell over the next several days whether anyone had any knowledge of this, but at this time we view him as a lone wolf attacker.
I know it's early, but any indication this was a self-radicalized individual, or was he received training from somewhere? Or?
Yeah, we have no information to suggest any training. I can tell you we interviewed the subject for a good period of time. He was cooperative and has talked to us about what his motivations were, and I think it's suffice it to say he has a hatred for the United States and a variety of other things which in part motivated him towards coming to the airport today to conduct this act of violence.
Sir, can you explain how do we know how the gentleman was able to bring a 12-inch knife? Was it through the airport security? Was he coming from a plane when he came in here? It seems like that's not within TSA guidelines.
Actually, that's an excellent question, and to just be clear on that, he entered the public area, non-secure area of the airport. He spent a little time. He went up just outside the TSA screening area, spent some time in the restaurant, went to open to the public restroom, and then came out and attacked Lieutenant Neville prior to the screening area, so there wouldn't have been any screening at that point.
How long was the attack? How long did it take them to stop the individual?
Yeah, my understanding is they brought him into, took control of him within about a minute, and I'll defer to the chief, but it's my understanding the chief personally, one of the members of the fire department here with us right now, and actually a non-sworn public safety officer, someone who isn't involved in that, assisted in taking this individual down and restraining him, and thus my comment earlier that there were some acts of heroism here, because had he been able to get free and try and attack additional people, we could be talking about much greater harm today than occurred.
Was there any sort of incident before the attack between the officer and the suspect? Was there any sort of argument, or did he just go up to this officer and start stabbing him?
We have no indication there was any sort of dialogue between this officer, and we're recovering all videos and that sort of thing, and again we'll know that, but there's no indication whatsoever he had any dialogue with anybody prior to this attack.
Do you know why he selected Flint?
My understanding is, Chief, you want the lieutenant with surgery?
Yes, Lieutenant Neville did require some surgery. The surgery didn't take a lot of time. He got through it very well, and he is resting comfortably at this time. To answer questions in reference to any engagement between the suspect and Lieutenant Neville, there was none. He, from what we can tell, he engaged Lieutenant Neville and just started stabbing.
Is there any indication why Flint?
We don't have any information to answer that.
Can you be more specific as to who brought him down? Who actually got him to stop stabbing him?
Lieutenant Neville got him to stop stabbing him. Lieutenant Neville fought him right to the end, right until I was able to handcuff this person. After Lieutenant Neville never stopped fighting until I handcuffed this person, along with Lieutenant Neville and Lieutenant Dan Owen and maintenance person Richard Krull. The four of us were able to subdue this person, get him handcuffed, and get him under control.
Were you
Was he specifically attacked as an officer?
I was close by, but I was only seconds away.
Do you think he was targeted because he was an officer, because he was in uniform?
I think I can't really answer why he did what he did, but obviously it was Lieutenant Neville that he engaged.
Did he say anything else during the struggle?
The statements that he made were the answers that the FBI SAC gave you. He had some Muslim dialect, and that's much as we have at this time.
And nothing tying the suspect to Flint. No family in the area. No family from Michigan. Did he mention anything in the interrogation?
Not that we know of at this time, but I can't really expound upon that because, again, the FBI is in charge of this investigation, and I'll refer those questions to them.
Lieutenant Dan Owen, you were one of the first responders. Can you tell us what it was like helping your friend and colleague at that time?
Yes, I was. We were here setting up for a meeting with our public safety partners in our county. I was about 10-15 feet away when I witnessed the attack. Myself and Chief Miller responded to it fairly quickly. Like you said, he already had him on the ground. We assisted in handcuffing the suspect, and then I called for our paramedics to respond to the terminal from the fire station. They responded within about 90 seconds. They were on scene, rendering Lieutenant Neville first aid and getting him ready for transporting to a local hospital.
What was going through your mind when you helped? He's your friend as well.
He's a good friend of mine. Yes, it was very terrifying to see something that quick and respond. Luckily, we were very, very close distance to respond and take care of the incident as quick as we possibly could.
Working for the FBI, was this man, as you know, on your radar? Any watch list? Any evidence? Has he come onto your radar at all?
Well, it's very early in the investigation, so and as a pending matter, as I said, I'm not going to get into the details. Preliminary indications are we had no visibility on this individual, but there's a great deal of work to be done, and I hope that remains the answer, which makes the challenge for us in dealing with individuals who pose this sort of threat all the greater.
Did he have an issue getting weapons? Was there, I mean, we've been hearing through sources he had wanted to get a gun and it wasn't available. Is that something you can go into, his struggles to get, because his knife was his second option?
I'm not going to comment on that. He had a knife.
Was the president involved in this?
I can't speak to whether, we certainly brief our brass at headquarters, so the acting director is certainly aware. Beyond that, we've been busy here today trying to deal with this incident, and again, I can't say enough about the partnership. When these sorts of things happen, you hope that what you think will happen on paper will actually happen when these sorts of things happen. And the operation here today, with all the partnerships coming together and working this investigation, has just been outstanding.
Were there any other weapons in his bags that were in the bathroom?
Airport director, you can come up, sir. Is this a reason or perhaps an opportunity to rethink airport security? Because practically every airport has that open area where practically anyone can go in. before you go through metal detectors and any sort of a security checkpoint and what have you, is this an opportunity to rethink airport security in light of what happened and in light of other incidents where violence has happened in the public part of the airport where there's no security, if you will?
Understand. Certainly security is a top priority of the airport and all of our aviation partners. I'm really not in a position to make a policy comment on what kind of security makes sense at what level, but certainly we take it seriously. Our officers and really everybody on our staff, it's a top priority, and that's why we were able to respond and be ready for this so quickly.
Mr. Williams, can you say how long the suspect was in the airport before the actual attack happened?
I cannot. I do not know that.
How many people were affected by this? How many flights, and what are their chances of getting out tonight?
I can't tell you how many people because I don't know how many people are on the planes, but we've had 5 flights that were impacted. We were able to bring aircraft in and deplane them, as you might have seen throughout the day, aircraft coming in. So people were able to deplane and exit the airport, but nobody was able to actually enplane and take off until approximately 4 o'clock was when we opened the airport up for those kind of operations.
Is everything back to normal now?
Did you go anywhere? He had bags, you said, and I think that he dropped 2 bags in the restroom. What was in those bags, and what were the bags?
I did not say anything about bags, and I do not know the answer to that.
How many people were in the terminal at the time of this happening?
I do not know. It was before a few flights there, so I don't know how many exactly.
What's your name and title again?
Craig, C-R-A-I-G, Williams, Airport Director, Bishop International Airport Authority.
Are there delays now if people are flying out? Or?
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take 2 more questions.
Right now, we are experiencing delays as everything ramps up. I would ask people to check with their airline to coordinate any travel that they have, but we'll be returning to normal operations as time goes on.
Sir, can you talk about what was in the bags? Can you talk about what was in his other 2 bags?
And did he have a knife with him when he got off his plane this morning?
He again, let's clarify, he was not a airline passenger. We have no indication he had any tickets to travel on an airline. He went into the airport with bags. The searches are ongoing. I'm not going to comment as to what we're recovering from his personal belongings, but those are searches that are ongoing. As I mentioned, the complaint, as I understand it, is unsealed, so it will be available to you. I would encourage, there's a lot of questions we have about this individual, obviously, and if anyone in your viewing audiences have any information or saw this individual at any time, we encourage you to call our mainline number, which is 313-965-2323 or tips.fbi.gov, and we would like to follow up on that sort of information. So with that, I guess I'll take one more question.
Do you know where and when he'll be arraigned?
He will be arraigned in Detroit, I believe, and we'll get you that answer. He'll be arraigned at U.S. District Court in Detroit, but it could possibly be Flint.
Are you going to send out a mugshot as well?
He was interviewed and was not uncooperative.
Can you get us an image of him, a mugshot?
We will do our best with that through our media spokesperson.
Can you spell your last name for me?
Thanks, sir. It is G-E-L-I-O-S. And thank you again for the patience you've demonstrated out here today. We appreciate it.
And then just in closing, I want to thank all of you for being such great media partners. You've hung in there with us all day long out here in the sun. I do want to mention, though, in speaking with some of the officials here, there were many different local agencies, both fire, police, and ambulance. There were a wide variety of folks that all responded here to assist with this. The folks that you see behind me are not the only group that are represented, but they obviously were able to be here with us for the press conference. Just know that we are so appreciative for all those local partners that all showed up in great numbers to support us. And during the evacuation, I'm being told by the chief, it went very well. It was smooth. It wasn't chaotic. They had ambulances staged, making sure that if anyone needed assistance, that those things were taken care of. So a great deal of work was done here and is going to continue moving forward. We appreciate, again, your patience in being here with us and making sure that we have accuracy in our reporting and getting the right information out there. So thank you so much, and have a great day, folks.